What's good, man?
Everything is good.
How's the restaurant?
It's doing well.
That's good, man. I'll be out there next month to see my grandfather, man. So I'm gonna go check this stuff out, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you know, we right on 132nd and 7th Avenue.
Okay.
You know, we do Jamaican food, soul, vegetarian. It's nice, man.
See, when I was growing up, man, everybody was trying to, I guess around 119th Street, it was something like Eminem. And I was like, nah, Doug is killing Eminem, the harmonica and everything else.
No, well, Eminard is one of my students.
Yeah.
I taught Eminard.
That's what's up, man.
But Eminard does what he do well.
Right.
I mean, it's never to take nothing from him. That's my main guy.
Right.
I mean, if the question is about beatboxing, I think there's so many different beatboxers that do things well. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I created it, but it don't mean that I'm the only person to make a contribution to it. You know what I mean? I'll create the thought, and then you'll continue on. It's like that chair you sitting in. Somebody created the chair. Then you got a couch.
Right.
Then you got a reclining seat. Then you got a chair that, you be sitting, you be like, I got to get out of here. This chair is so uncomfortable, So, but the bottom line is that you just create something and then you let other people create on it. So Eminard, there's another young man named Rich, who also came out of St. Nick Projects, he used to show me electric boogie moves and I used to show himself with the beatbox. And then you got Biz Markie, who used to be up under us, and we had him. Then you had other people come out. It's just the evolution. There's a beatbox that I like now. There's a guy named Eclipse. He uses a little thing that he controls the sound and he layers it, And then my friend from American Idol, Blake Lewis, he's good, So there's so many. You got Scratch, I just think of it as everybody making a contribution to something that's good. I did it by accident. I kind of did it by accident. I was just doing it going to school. And when I was doing it going to school, me, Will, Barry used to practice. And then when the records come down, I would do the beatbox a little bit. So Barry said, yo, man, why don't you try that outside? You should call it the human beatbox. So I hit it, and that was it. That was it. And then we just started to create more on it. We would incorporate different things, the DJing. I do it with the harmonica. I do different levels of it. And it's like an instrument. You just keep developing and keep playing. Like you got different bass players. Like the bass player with Cameo is an incredible bass player. He has an incredible history. But, I got a call. Somebody said Larry Graham was playing tonight out in Maryland. He's unbelievable. You know what I mean? So it's just the evolution of something. So I never look at any other artist or beatbox as what we would call competition, because how can you create? How can you compete against the creator? Like you wouldn't have the thought if I didn't give it to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, not to say you can't do certain things better than me, because that would be arrogant of me to think that nobody could do nothing better than me. That's crazy to think that, right? In life, that nobody does nothing better than me. But what you do is, you look at all of the things that people bring to the table and they do well, and you try to incorporate it. There's a group that I'm getting ready to do something with, and I'm glad I'm bringing this up. Well, I got to talk to what's the guy we did the jazz cruise with? What's his name? I need natural. What is it? The Natural Seven. What do they call it? Natural Seven. There was a group called Natural Seven. They do. It's like a whole band. Natural Seven, right? I seen some footage on them one day. They was doing a something for Herbie Hancock, and it was off the hook. So you see, everybody is doing different things that I like. So if I like it, let's get down.
I just saw a YouTube video just recently of you beatboxing for like 2.5 minutes. What's your record? Like, how long?
Oh, the record? I don't know the record yet. We supposed to been doing some Guinness World Record thing, but my record, I practice circular breathing, so I can probably do something longer than most people in here. You know what I mean? But I never sat down and thought about the record, but people always tell me that it's a long time. But I ain't sitting there going, you know. I just do it because it's interesting to be able to take your abilities to another level. I'm constantly learning how to take my skills higher. All the skills. And I have quite a bit of them.
How does it make you feel about the younger generation, like Cali Swag District, and Katisha Calibetti, and they going back to you?
Right.
How does that make you feel?
Well, I think it's a great compliment because usually people try to fit in. I don't have to fit in. They just took what I do and made it fit in, which is a blessing in a major way because it's like Little Will from out here, who's a really good friend of mine, who we was talking about doing some music together, Cali Swag, M Bone, when he passed away, respect to him and his family. I'm always happy to see young people or anybody be successful or do whatever they got to do to become successful. I'm never into, just because he used something of mine, I'm mad or I want a percentage. I never once tried to come at them and say I wanted anything from them. I was just happy to see them successful, because none of this is really ours. It's the creator giving it to us, and we just kind of like passing it through us to everyone. And so for me to sit there and try to take ownership to everything, I don't think that. That's why when the beatbox is created or we doing a dance or the dance was something that I used to do because we was having fun and now I see the kids doing it and they having fun rather than killing each other. I like that because that's one of the things that hip hop was about. We would have our little dance offs. Y'all remember the circle. You get the circle and everybody be like, go, go, go. You know what I'm saying? So, it's kind of cool to see them doing something like that.
You had one of the best stage shows I've seen ever. I mean, on the state building.
Yeah, it was a long time. Appreciate that.
How do you feel about the current state of shows today?
This is our last question.
With the new generation.
I love the shows that I see today from the point of view that I think that, see, I'm a guy that when I look at something, I watch things evolve. So I know that you're not the same guy today that you were 15 years ago. I know everything evolves. So when I'm looking at something, I never really judge it from the point of view of saying it's terrible. I sit back and try to find out why they did this or why they didn't do that. I mean, I used to train Biggie. I used to train Puffy. I used to train so many artists, Shine, before he got locked up. And then when he got out, but I watched them be the way that they were and then evolve to where, when I see them on television or perform, I go, wow, this is incredible. I remember Mary J. Blige used to have shows and her shows wasn't as tight. And I watched her evolve to become incredible on stage. So when I'm looking at anybody, I always see the potential. I never look at them and say, so-and-so is whack. So-and-so is this. Now, if you're doing something that ain't right, I'm going to keep it all the way real. That wasn't right, B. What you did was wrong. That wasn't right. But sometimes you got to go through that to become great. I mean, if you study the book of Malcolm X, the autobiography of Malcolm X, and you look at what he was when he was a kid, and then the things that he went through, and then when he met Elijah and what he became after, then you can see the evolution of somebody. So you can't judge the person just because. And a lot of new artists don't understand some of these things. They thinking it's just all about the rhyme, all about being in the studio. They don't be caring about how they show is until they. I remember one time I was on tour with Zach, Roger Troutman. I thought we were good until I seen him. I was on the tour and I seen him put it down. And it made me say, okay, there's a whole nother level to this thing that I didn't even know exists. I used to be out there with the Gap Band, the Barcades, Confunction, Mary Jane Girls, Andre Simone. I mean, we used to sit on the side and watch and say, man, we got to take this thing to another level because it was something that made you have to better your skills. It's like playing chess. You only get better playing chess when you play somebody that's better than you. Your game stays the same if you're playing people the same or under you. So I think that the artists today have to always remember to check out a KRS-One or a Busta Rhymes or Ludacris or somebody that really, when you see them do their thing, you go like, okay, well, let me take this home and really put some time into it. And then I think the other thing is that the relationship between the one generation of hip hop and another generation has to continue to communicate. Because when that generation stops communicating, so does the product start to take a dive. Because if I'm talking to Jeezy, which is a friend of mine, and I'm telling him something, and he's telling me something, now we building. But if I don't say nothing to him and I keep my mouth closed or, he don't say nothing to me, then everything kind of stays the same. Last thing I'm going to say on the subject is that one time I was with the Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang used to come in there 50, 60 deep. I mean, Wu-Tang was really running in there like that. And sometimes when the sound wasn't right, his whole crew used to beat the sound man down. One day I pulled over to the side and said, yo, you know what? Why don't we do something different? Why don't we get one of the guys out there to go ahead and do the sound and let them learn how to do the sound or post one person by them so you could tell them to turn it up when the mic is too low because it's like 9, 10 mics. So the guy is confused, you know what I'm saying? So the dude stood over, he said, yeah, okay. So instead of going to the shows, having to stomp out the sound man every time, now you done developed another guy to become a sound man or at least be next to the sound man. So when there's something not right with the mic, you could turn it up. But that's the same thing that has to happen with records, with the shows, with the business aspects. We have to keep communicating with each other so we can grow. If we don't communicate with each other, everything stays the same.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dougie Fresh.